How's it going, guys? Today we're going to edit 45 minutes of footage into a 1-minute Instagram banger, and all of this is going to be lightning fast. Before we dive into Final Cut here, there's a couple of things I want to mention that you should do before we actually get to this step. Obviously, you'll have to have all of your footage shot, and that's just a huge topic which I try to cover in my channel. This is going to be focusing on the editing though. So obviously we have to have all of our resources set so we are ready to get in the zone. But another thing that most people don't really talk about or even consider is when you are about to edit something as intense like this, you really have to be in the right mindset. And it can be difficult to get to that place where you're ready to make an absolute banger. And that's where I feel like the creativity side and the business side sort of clash, where you have deadlines where videos need to be made, but the creativity just has to be inspirational. It just has to come when it wants to come. So now that we have everything set, let's make an epic video. Now, my editing software of choice is Final Cut Pro. I feel like the workflow and everything just is the best for me, but all of these tips will be able to be applied to any other software of your choosing. So if we look at what I got going on in the timeline here, this music was by request of Shane, who is the gymnast who is featured in this video. This is for his Instagram page. You can definitely check him out in the link below if you want to watch the full Instagram banger. So first what I'll do before I import all of the content is first either choose a song, or if a song is already recommended, take that song, bring it in, and then listen to it in entirety, either once or twice, just so you understand what you're going to be working with. Now this specific song here is about 2.5 minutes, so that's obviously not going to work for the 1-minute Instagram cutoff. So I basically shortened each section of the song here and then made sure all of the beats lined up so that it would flow well. We have the drop coming in right at about 48 seconds, which is kind of ideal. So we have this nice long build up to the drop and then just a little bit after that. Now, as we'll get into this, you'll understand more about the footage that I'm working with, and this will possibly give you some ideas on how you could shoot your footage. I was using 2 cameras most of the time, the 80D on a gimbal, and then the 1DX Mark II on, I was basically just hand holding that, doing some epic slow-mo. So now that we have the framework of the music perfectly lined up here, you'll see it's exactly 1 minute long, so we know exactly how much time we have. This is when I'll start dealing with the footage. Now, 45 minutes is way too much time to actually go through and look at the whole thing. So by no means do I ever actually look at the whole thing. You have the thumbnails of each clip right here, and basically what I'll do is just set in points and then kind of a rough out point of where I want the clip to end. Got some nice B-roll here, really epic. I love this shot right here because of the foreground movement. It is kind of slow, so we might speed it up a little bit later, but that subtle movement right there is just epic. So I'm just roughly setting the in and out points here so that this 45 minutes is a little bit more manageable. So I try to use as many keyboard shortcuts as possible because that'll just make everything faster. And I've actually pre-programmed the 2 bracket keys to cut the clip either at the beginning or the end, depending on which bracket it is. That's pretty easy to set in the custom settings. So if I want to trim the clip to start right there, I just hit that 1 key and boom, that's all that needs to be done, instead of cutting and then deleting the clip. But if you think about 2 clips times 100 different shots, or even more than 100 different clips, it adds up pretty fast. So this is probably one of my favorite shots of the entire film. Just that right there, ending right there. This one is definitely staying in the film, so I'm actually going to hit M and add a little marker just right there to make sure that we don't leave that one out. Excuse me, the chalk dust is making my allergies go. That's just so epic. I love this. This is gonna be such a banger. Oh my god. So part of what I'm doing here, other than just filling in the clips, is rearranging it so it tells a story. And basically my idea with this is to have all of these different shots preparing for something big to happen, and basically that's going along with the music here until we get to the big stuff. So it is mostly chronological in the order that I shot it, but I am starting to mix it up just a little bit to tell more of a cinematic story here. And with that, we are now done with the edit. So I hope this was helpful in giving you some tips on just some different ways to do stuff and how I make this content that I think looks pretty darn good. If you want to see the full video, that will be linked down below on Shane's Instagram page. I'd love to see your work. If you make any awesome kind of imagery sort of like this, you can tag me on Instagram at pro.dslr, and I'd love to check that out. That's gonna wrap it up for this video. I'm gonna be doing much more Final Cut Pro and just editing tutorials like this in the future, so make sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and as always, don't forget to keep it pro. How do you like this new setup, by the way? I think it looks pretty darn good.